The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposed ideas in the mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. Francis Scott Fitzgerald.
Chapter 3. What is the meaning of life?
Now that we've gained an understanding of what context is, we can rather easily answer a question that has occupied philosophers' minds for thousands of years. What is the meaning of life? Let's start by noting that this question sounds a bit vague. What kind of life are we talking about here? If we're only asking the superficial, what is the meaning of my personal life, then we get equally superficial and banal, ready-made answers from the bucket list category. Plant a tree, build a house, raise a child. A deeper question concerns the meaning of life, not just for me personally, but for humanity as a whole. But even that's still too narrow, because life is not limited to humanity alone. Indeed, we tend to forget that aside from us, living humans, there are also plenty of other living beings like all those animals and birds, plus all sorts of fish and various sea creatures, plus all kinds of bugs, mosquitoes and cockroaches, plus countless plants, fungi and lichens, plus a huge variety of bacteria, plus an unimaginable multitude of other beings and entities, known and unknown to science, not only on Earth, but on other, yet to be discovered planets and worlds in the vast universe. It is the question of the meaning of this all-encompassing universal life, with a capital L, that we intend to answer now. Interested? In the previous chapter, we remember that context is the sum of all a subject's knowledge and ideas about themselves and the surrounding universe. Let's consider the context of the simplest creature we all know from school biology, the single-celled amoeba. Let's recall that this simple organism lives on the surface of freshwater bodies and feeds on various organic matter floating around in abundance. What kind of knowledge and ideas about the universe does the amoeba have? Here's what. From the perspective of these brainless amoebas, the universe consists of fresh water within certain ranges of temperature, pH levels, organic impurities, and so on, bordering on air, with its own variable composition and temperature ranges. And that's the entire model of the universe for the amoeba. How close is this model to reality? Definitely quite far, but it works 100% in the local context. More precisely, where this model of the universe becomes inadequate outside the boundaries of the pond, our amoebas don't survive, and as a result, don't live. Essentially,
a model of the universe is a reflection of a behavioral scheme that living beings adapt to maintain their homeostasis.
For example, when the acidity of the water rises to certain levels, amoebas are able to shrink, reducing the surface area of their membrane while simultaneously thickening it, which helps them survive. When the acidity exceeds a certain threshold, shrinking no longer helps, and the amoebas perish in agony. This means that the real universe has ceased to correspond to the amoeba's model of the universe. All right, but what about multicellular organisms? Or let's aim even higher, warm-blooded animals. From the perspective of, say, penguins, the universe is immeasurably more complex than it is for an amoeba. Now we have the cold, salty sea ocean, a variety of fish in that sea, ice, predatory orcas and sharks, and of course other penguins, both male and female. Again, the penguin's model of the universe is still fairly primitive, which is why our hero's habitat is limited to the coastlines of Antarctica and the southernmost regions of neighboring islands and continents. You could say that for hundreds of millions of years, nature has launched countless startups, families, classes, species, and subspecies of animals, plants, bacteria, and so on, which have been competing with each other for a place in the sun all this time. Each of these startups had its own business model, its particular model of the universe, and the more advantageous or accurate this model was, the higher that startup climbed in the food chain. Essentially, what's competing here are models of the universe, and the best, most accurate one wins. Let's immediately note the difference between the context we discussed in the previous chapter and the model of the universe. Context is individual. It's the set of knowledge and ideas about oneself and the universe belonging to a single living being, one specific amoeba or penguin. The model of the universe, however, is a broader concept. It's the average context shared by all members of a particular species, all amoebas or all penguins. We'll explore this distinction in more detail in part 2, but for now, to complete the picture, let's introduce another term.
Collective model of the universe. This is the most accurate representation of the universe that has emerged within a given ecosystem.
It would be a mistake to think that the most accurate model of the universe in the Earth's ecosystem has been shaped solely by human efforts. No, the collective model of the universe of Earth's ecosystem is the result of several billion years of evolution of Earth's life, starting with some prokaryotes and ending with modern humans. Humans, with the exception of my upstairs neighbor, are merely the champions. They've managed to arrive at a far more accurate model of the universe than any other known living beings. And yet the species Homo sapiens stands on the shoulders of all its ancestors who consumed plants and animals that also stand on the shoulders of their ancestors, and so on. Thus, the most accurate collective model of the universe is the product of the collective evolution of the entire ecosystem. And now it makes perfect sense to conclude life, with a capital L, is the competitive process of refining and perfecting the model of the universe. Or in other words,
life is the continuous process of cognizing the universe.
And accordingly,
the goal of life is to discover a fully adequate model of the universe.
How achievable this goal is, we'll explore further. But for now,
Summary.
Model of the universe is a reflection of the behavioral scheme that living beings adapt to maintain their homeostasis. Collective model of the universe is the most accurate representation of the universe that has emerged within a given ecosystem. Life is the continuous process of cognizing the universe. The goal of life is to discover a fully adequate model of the universe.